So something major might be brewing right now with three different studios: Marvel Studios, Warner Brothers Discovery, and Sony, bringing three different universes together in a kind of interesting way. Now, I wouldn't exactly call it a great situation because Sony is involved. However, it could lead to Marvel Studios possibly getting the rights to Spider-Man back. But it also could lead down another path that might not be too good for superhero fans overall. And you might have already heard some news about what we're talking about today, and that is Sony might buy part of Warner Brothers Discovery. Here's what recently happened. Earlier this month, Warner Brothers Discovery announced that it would split itself into two different entities by mid-2026. The first one, WBD Global Networks, will remain focused on the company's traditional cable programming with sports and news and entertainment. Then the other one, the second entity, WBD Streaming and Studios, will spin off with HBO, the TV series and movie production, as well as the gaming division of Warner Brothers Discovery. And with this happening, many analysts have identified the possible motive behind this decision that Warner Brothers is making. And that is the potential sale of Warner Brothers Discovery, Streaming and Studios. And now we've been hearing some rumors and reports that Sony is possibly already considering purchasing Warner Brothers Discovery, Streaming and Studios. But here's the kicker. If Sony would buy Warner Brothers Discovery, based on what we know, that would go against their contract for Spider-Man. And again, based on what we know, that should mean the rights to Spider-Man would go back to Marvel Studios. And according to a couple of different websites, one is WCCF Tech, Sony is rumored to be considering this acquisition. And to be honest, there are probably a lot of different companies out there thinking about buying Warner Brothers Streaming and Gaming. Think about it. You would get DC, Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, Mortal Kombat, not only shows and movies, but gaming as well. And I'm sure some people are wondering if Disney could possibly be considering buying them, but I think they own too much already and probably wouldn't be allowed to buy them, but you never know. But here's where Marvel and Spider-Man and DC fans and really just superhero fans in general kind of get backed into a corner with what could possibly happen if Sony were to buy Warner Brothers. According to some reports from analysts, if Sony does buy WB and DC, they will have to give up the rights to Spider-Man because they legally cannot own their own comic book company and a rival company's IP. This is where we kind of get into trouble. Actually, if you're a Marvel fan and only a Marvel fan, you don't like DC or anything else, it's actually not entirely troublesome. If these reports are true, if Sony were to buy WB Streaming and Gaming and they would lose the rights to Spider-Man and they would go back to Marvel, that is incredibly great news. The only downside to that would be Sony would own DC, which again, if you're only a Marvel fan, that's not really that big of a deal for you. But if you're a superhero fan in general and a DC fan, that sucks because Sony really doesn't have a great track record with making superhero movies. And even if you're just a Marvel fan, Marvel does need DC to put out good movies, because if they put out nothing but bad movies, that's only going to contribute to what everybody calls superhero fatigue. Really what it is bad movie fatigue, but there are people out there who kind of just group all superhero movies together. They don't really see a division between Marvel and DC and anything else. It's just a superhero movie to them. So if Sony owns DC and they start making movies like Madam Web, Kraven the Hunter, Morbius, but doing that for characters like Superman and Batman, well, that's not good for the superhero genre overall, and people will not only lose interest in DC, but also Marvel as well. And of course, if you're a DC fan, this kind of just sucks, especially after James Gunn now has something really good going for him at DC Studios. At least that's what it seems like. Now, there is always the chance that if Sony did buy WB Streaming and Gaming, they could be smart and let DC Studios basically remain the same and let James Gunn and Peter Safran run it. But Sony hasn't typically been smart when it comes to superhero, well, really kind of just anything superhero except for the Into the Spider-Verse movies. But focusing on the good, Marvel would get the rights to Spider-Man back, which means they could do whatever they wanted to. And it doesn't just mean Spider-Man, but it means all Spider-Man related characters as well, including Kingpin. Recently, Kingpin actor Vincent D'Onofrio said that he believed his character Kingpin couldn't appear in the MCU films because of a rights issue with Sony. So not only could we have Spider-Man in the MCU in a non-restricted form, Marvel Studios could literally do whatever they want with Spider-Man without having to ask for permission from Sony, but other characters like Kingpin, Miles Morales, Spider-Gwen, Spider-Man 2099, the Green Goblin, Hobgoblin, Venom, all of these characters could be used by Marvel freely. And what's really interesting is that there's enough time for Sony to buy Warner Brothers Discovery streaming and gaming so that Marvel could actually get the rights to Spider-Man back before we start the new saga of the MCU, which we believe is going to be an entirely new universe. And this would actually be an incredible thing for Marvel Studios. And it would actually mean that Marvel would probably have to somewhat change their plans that they already have for the next part of the MCU. And Marvel definitely already has those plans down, rest assured. In fact, we just heard that Marvel Studios has 4 release date slates already planned for 2028. They are already planning the first 5 years of the next saga. And we've been hearing a lot about the next saga recently. We've heard that there are going to be 3 main focuses in the next saga. There's going to be a cosmic side, there's going to be a supernatural side, and there's some big rumors that Mephisto's coming, and he'll be a big bad of that supernatural side, and we'll get the Midnight Suns with that as well. And recently, Alex Perez from the Cosmic Circus stated that the next MCU saga is being described as very demonic and something out of a Guillermo del Toro fever dream, which no doubt is going to be a part of the supernatural side of the MCU. But then, of course, the third side is the mutant side. The X-Men are finally in the MCU. But imagine if Marvel had the rights to all of the Spider-Man characters. Marvel would basically have every single thing that they needed at that point in time. It's obviously a huge win that Disney acquired Fox, and they got the rights to the X-Men and the Fantastic Four. Now they can build the universe that they've always dreamed of building, except there still is kind of a hindrance there with Spider-Man and the Spider-Man characters because of the rights with Sony. So they can't necessarily do everything that they want to do, but they could if they had the rights to Spider-Man and all the characters. If that happened, the only thing they'd really be missing is the solo movie rights to the Hulk, which we've heard a lot of rumors over time that Marvel might have actually gotten the rights to a solo Hulk movie back from Universal, but that is unconfirmed at this point in time. But regardless, Marvel Studios can pretty much do what they want to do with the Hulk in other movies. Thor Ragnarok is the perfect example, and speaking of Spider-Man, in Spider-Man Brand New Day, we might get the Hulk. In fact, that's really what it seems like, considering the report that said we're getting the Hulk said that we're getting the Punisher, and the Punisher just got confirmed to be in Spider-Man Brand New Day. So this really would be a great situation for Marvel Studios. Unfortunately, it probably wouldn't be too good for DC, and I think they got a really good thing going right now, and I really wouldn't want to see them be owned by Sony. Now, again, Sony could be smart, and they could simply let DC Studios be and let James Gunn and Peter Safran continue to run it, make great movies, and make them a lot of money. That would be the best case scenario. But would Sony actually let them do that? Who knows? There are great things that Sony could do gaming wise. So if you're a big gamer, that could be a pretty big positive. But overall, it could be good, it could be bad, and Marvel could get the rights back to Spider-Man. Will Sony actually do it? We're going to have to wait and see about that one. But go ahead and let me know your thoughts about this in the comments down below. Do you like it? Do you hate it? Do you like some of it? Let us know. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to stay up to date with both Marvel and DC, and of course, Spider-Man. You can find us on most social medias, and as always, thank you all so much for watching. Woof woof.